The war in Ukraine has entered a dangerous new chapter. The oceans are now joining the theater of war as Ukraine and Russia escalate missile strikes and drone warfare. President Donald Trump's audacious step to deploy nuclear submarines near Russian waters has escalated fears of a high-stakes geopolitical standoff. But Russia has urged Trump to be cautious with nuclear rhetoric.
The Ukraine war refuses to cool down. It's now boiling over into new uncharted territory. In the past 72 hours, Ukraine has pushed the battlefield beyond the border. It's targeting crucial Russian facilities. The aim is to cripple Moscow's fighting abilities. A Ukrainian drone attack damaged a power line and sparked a fire at a railway station. These are images from Russia's southern region of Volgograd. The attack caused delay in several regional trains and flights. On Sunday, flames and high columns of smoke engulfed a refinery in southern Russia's Sochi city. Ukrainian drones targeted 2 oil tankers in Sochi, which is Russia's largest resort city. Russia has unleashed a fresh wave of missile and drone strikes, pounding Ukrainian cities along the Black Sea. A bridge in Kherson, southern Ukraine, lies in ruins, heavily damaged after a Russian airstrike. The strategic bridge connects the city center to the Korabel district. The Ukrainian city of Mykolaiv suffered massive damage in a Russian drone attack. The assault reduced residential buildings and complexes to rubble. Russia claims Ukraine has lost over 15,000 troops in the special military operation zone in 48 hours. The Russian air defense says it shot down 2 HIMARS projectiles and 274 Ukrainian UAVs over the weekend, claims which are hard to verify in the fog of war. The fighting intensifies as President Donald Trump announces a rescheduled visit of his envoy Steve Witkoff to Moscow this week. This ahead of a looming US sanctions deadline and escalating tensions with Moscow.
And he may be going, I think next week, Wednesday or Thursday, may be going to Russia. They would like to see him. They've asked that he meet, so we'll see what happens.
Russia is urging caution in nuclear rhetoric. It asserts it has no intention to get into nuclear escalation with the US. The Kremlin's remarks come days after President Trump said he'd deploy 2 nuclear submarines near Russia over his online spat with former President Dmitry Medvedev. The location of these submarines is always kept secret by the US military for obvious reasons. The US has a total of 71 nuclear submarines, while Russia is close behind with 64. As the world watches with bated breath, the fear of a high-stakes geopolitical face-off looms large. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Mr. John Erath is a Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation. Is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Erath, good to see you and thank you very much for your time. How do you see Steve Witkoff's visit to Moscow after Trump announced deployment of submarines near Russian waters?
I think that the visit of the special envoy to Moscow is consistent with the strategy of the Trump administration. They're trying to seek an opportunity to achieve some kind of ceasefire, some kind of end to the violence going on. And Mr. Witkoff would be going to Moscow to underline the interest of the United States in ending the conflict and perhaps with some new proposals for how to do that. Mm-hmm. The case of the submarines is a little bit different. This was in response to some words from the former president of Russia, Medvedev, and it is an act that carries very little military significance. The submarines are able to strike targets in Russia wherever they are located. So moving them closer to Russia really doesn't change that. It's merely a signal to the Russian government to be very careful with the nuclear rhetoric.
Mr. Erath, something very interesting that Trump said. He said that it's actually the Russians or President Putin who asked to see Mr. Steve Witkoff. What do you make of that statement?
I think that it's part of the normal conversation between the two governments. Last week, President Trump said that the deadline for Russia to finally end the war was decreasing, that there was less time than before, and this is no doubt a response from the Russians to say, well, then send over an envoy and we can talk further. So I wouldn't read too much into it at this time.
Mr. Erath, after tense statements by President Trump, what kind of rapprochement can we expect between Washington and Moscow?
I think the relations are in a difficult position right now. Russia launched its war of aggression against Ukraine over 3 years ago. President Trump said that he could end the war in a day. That did not happen. And so there's some frustration with the Russian government in Washington, and I think that's being reflected in the relations between the two countries. The interest, though, is still very strong to end the war as soon as possible and to stop the bloodshed that's going on.
All right. Mr. John Erath, it's good to see you. We'll have to end this discussion there. Thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you for inviting me.